Hello everybody, I'm Jimmy Fantastic. Welcome to my Shambling Undead guide to NAF style / Norsk Arena / setups. So if you're not aware, in Blood Bowl 3 there is a new mode called Norsk Arena, and this is very much like NAF style tabletop tournaments that take place on a weekend. Your team stays the same throughout. You get a bit more gold than a starting team, and you get some skills to allocate to give the impression of like a somewhat developed team. It's perfect for tabletop logistics, etc. And there's a bit of balancing there with the higher tiers getting a bit more, or lower tiers depending on your point of view. And as you can see, Shambling Undead are tier 1, 6 primary skills and 1150 TV in Norsk Arena. This is pretty much translatable to most tabletop events, right? People are usually making Undead the highest tier. They're a very, very strong starting team, and that's because they're very cheap and they get pretty much everything they want instantly. Almost all rosters will look like this in terms of the players. So you get your 2 mummies, your 2 whites, 4 ghouls, up to 13 with linemen, 3 rerolls, an assistant coach. Now, one point of contention would be you could drop a lineman, drop the assistant coach, and get a Bloodweiser keg. I wouldn't hate doing that. Now, with this being Arena for Blood Bowl 3, there is overtime activated, which is very unlike NAF style in tabletop. So I do actually value the extra player for Arena. If I was playing this in a tabletop tournament, I would probably go with the keg. The keg is actually very low impact, but so is the 13th player. Also, the 13th player lets you foul a bit more sometimes, so it is close. I'm not entirely sure which is correct, but both are fine, certainly. Then when it comes to skills, there are some things that you will always see and some are a bit contentious. You will almost always see 1 guard white. You will almost always see 2 block ghoul runners. Then you come a bit of options, right? You can protect both of the other ghouls. You could have like a 2 wrestle or a block and a wrestle. I personally only like 1 wrestle. I don't really value wrestle as much as block on ghouls, so I would go for a 3rd block if anything. Lots of people don't like guarding up the mummies, so if you don't guard either mummy, then that gives you the skills to give a block to a ghoul and something else to a white. Now you could go, that skill could be almost anything. Whites, they could have Mighty Blow, so you've got a mobile player that can hit things like gutter runners, etc., that mummies can't, hit them hard. You can take tackle, so you can knock down said gutter runners more effectively. Now, the thing is, without Amazons on Blood Bowl 3, tackle goes down in value. And Mighty Blow, I think, is almost just as good, right? Because if you knock them down half as much, but injure them twice as much, that's kind of okay, You don't want to knock over gutter runners and not kill them. So Mighty Blow is very strong. Guards, more guard on the white is obviously really good. You could go Frenzy, so that gives you a bit of tackle and a bit of Mighty Blow in terms of more knockdowns, and then therefore more injuries. And of course, Frenzy is a kind of a control tool as well, but it can also be bad for you. So there's a lot of options to skill the second blitzer if you want to, the second white. So you could just skill neither mummy. You could go guard on the white, you could go block on the ghoul, or you could, take off the wrestle off the ghoul and give guard to the white. Lots of things, but everything involves guard, block, wrestle, Mighty Blow, tackle. Basically that's just the way tabletop is. Because you've got so few skills, you just have to take the highest impact ones, which are the ones that everybody knows: dodge, block, wrestle, that kind of thing. You could take sure hands. You see some people take sure hands on a ghoul. I think it's a little bit limited. That's the problem, right? You've got 3 rerolls. You can reroll pickups anyway. It does help a little bit versus war dancers, but so does block. So I'm not so keen on the sure hands, but some people like it, and that's totally fine, right? And then we've got some formations here for you. So we've got the basic offensive setup. Now, of course, these aren't always applicable. Offense is entirely dictated by how your opponent sets up their defense. But if this was an 8-turn drive, this is why I've got it saved, right? I'm just going to load this in and then go from here, right? So we might change things if we're going for a quick score or whatever, or how their opponent sets up. But essentially, you're looking for 3 dice blocks with your mummies, and blocks with your whites with block, right? So that's it. Protect your ghouls and protect against a blitz result on a kickoff. So they're the principles. The principles of the offensive setup are there. And then defensive, we've got a few ones that we might use. So I think this is maybe my favourite one here. It depends how easily they can hit your ghouls. But this is just trying to protect everything, right? So you've got your 3 zombies on the LOS. They can get punched. You've got your mummies here, strength 5. What you don't want is somebody blitzing a mummy and knocking him over and gang fouling him. So this would be a little bit dangerous. If you were playing orcs, you would want these guys out here to protect the mummies probably. Because what orcs could do is a big one could run around, get guarded, blitz him down, right? So there's things like that. So you've got to think about what your opponent's going to do. But in general, you've got your bludge ghouls front and centre protected by guards. And then you've got these whites further back protected by guards. And then of course these 2 ghouls, the wrestle and the rookie, are completely safe. But yeah, like moving this and here is completely fine for that as well. But you know, again, these are just the ones that I'm saving for situations. We've got the denial if you're up against, like, you know, a non-strength 4 team that you can bully. You can put two mummies on the line, and then it's going to be really, really hard for them to hit these. You know, with you have these 2 players up 1 square away from the line are stopping them moving in players to assist, right? If these players were all down here, then they could get 2 assists, and if they've got a guard, they could punch this guy. But by having these forward, they just can't get by 2 of them, they can't get a player in here to assist. So, you know, again, situational here. You've got the wrestle ghoul furthest back in case there's a breakaway. All 4 ghouls can react if there's a push down one side. You're not going to use this, you know, to defend against a 2-turn, right? This is just a normal drive. So those are 2 there. And we've got the chevrons. This is if, you know, you really have to defend against a 2-turn touchdown, or maybe it's a 3-turn or something. You are exposing your weakest ghouls here, the wrestle ghoul and the unprotected ghoul. Now the idea of that is if they blitz this guy, let's say they kill him, they still can't get through. So they really are incentivized to not blitz these 2 players if they're going for a 2-turn, right? They want to blitz the edge to come down here, or they want to blitz the center to get through here. Now again, if they remove this guy, they still can't get through because it's really hard for them to move the mummy. So it's basically forcing them to go down one side. You've also got a bit of asymmetry. So we've got a guard over this side, and we've got the wrestle over this side. So I like to kind of balance it as much as possible, right? If you have the wrestle and the guard on one side, they're obviously going this side. So that's something to think about as well. Now, I'm not going to use this too much, right? Because I'm usually not concerned about defending 2 turns. But, you know, giving up a ghoul to stop the 2-turn, if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. So situationally use this, but mostly not. Mostly I'm going to be going for denial versus agility teams and protecting things versus bash teams. Again, maybe moving this out. And then we've got the last 2 formations, which are, you know, this is just after you've scored on turn 8, they've got 1 turn. Bench the mummy so they can't get sent off due to a vicious ref. This is where the end zone is, so that if they've dodged through the back line, you know, they've got to make 3 dodges, and you've got 3 players on the LOS with 1 gap. I think 1 gap is better than 2 gaps if they're trying a 1-turn touchdown. This is if they haven't got a great 1-turn touchdown. Because, you know, if you just think they've got to roll a lot of dice or whatever, they haven't got rerolls, they haven't got an agility 2+ player. If their 1-turn isn't very threatening, you set up like this and it's fine. If you are scared of, you know, a timeout, then you can go chevrons, but then of course you might get a ghoul killed. So, you know, you could maybe go something like this then, right? You could maybe oh god. Do something like this, right? So that you're protecting the ghouls more again on a chevron. So you can do things like that. And then if they've got a good 1-turn touchdown that you think you can stop, so not the best 1-turn touchdowns, but if they've got a good 1-turn touchdown, like say a pro elf catcher or something like this, then you can try and deny the pushes. You put your mummies on the LOS, and now, you know, it's getting really hard for them to hit these to get things to happen, to get their pushes forward. So, you know, I probably should do one-turn touchdown guides and stuff, but again, this is just, you know, I'm making these teams because I'm going to do arena runs, right? So I've got to save formations to make it more convenient for myself, so I might as well use that as a kind of racial setup guide. You know, so I think that could be a cool thing. And yeah, that's it. Hopefully that gives you an idea. What's the idea of Undead? I mean, I should have probably started with that, right? Why play Undead in tabletop? They're just really good, right? Mummies are incredible players, absolutely incredible players. They've got Mighty Blow, they don't have Lawn or anything. You get to smash people, you get to high roll really well, right? You'll win lots of games just by killing loads of players and just easily winning. You know, it's a lot easier to win when you've got 11 and they've got 7. The ghouls are absolutely incredible players with 1 skill to get block and dodge, or wrestle and dodge. And they're just a strong, really strong team, especially the lower TV. So, like, you know, if you're playing NAF style and, for example, you've only got, say, 1070 or whatever to build a team, then Undead stock rises because other people have less stuff and they don't need that much to build their team. So, yeah, okay, I should have started with that. Never mind. I've got it in eventually. Thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and stay fantastic.